Hello, my name is Mark Henson, and I'm an artist from California, and I'm out here in Florida for the Art Basel at the invitation of the kind folks here at 7th Circuit Studios in Miami. And they brought me here to bring some art to share with the folks here, with the Moksha family. And so in their recording studio space here, we've set up an exhibition of some of my work. This particular painting here is called Spiral Genesis. And basically, it's not a real evolved theme. I was mostly thinking of my favorite beach, and also the idea that that the universe is similar from small to large sizes. So here, the title is Snail Logic. I was intrigued by nature, the spirals in nature, spiral forms in nature. And in the small sense of the word, I've put a shell here at the bottom of the picture to indicate a natural spiral on our level of reality. And then here in the background, I put a very large spiral, which is actually made up of galaxies, which are spirals themselves, making an even greater spiral, making an even greater spiral. And my metaphor here is that things stay the same, whether you are in a large world or a very small one. Guardians of the Sacrament. And I believe that plants are here on the earth to be our friends, and that all the creatures of the world work together to live and share life and the gift of life on the planet. And that some of the plants that we are given to use and enjoy are here for our mental enlightenment and to enlarge our universe and to show us that reality consists of more than what we can see with just our 5 everyday senses. Well, in our society in recent years, we've had kind of a just say no attitude, that altered states of consciousness and the states of being that can be induced by some of our plant allies are sinful or immoral or bad in some way. And I wanted to show a scene here where a wise woman is teaching her student here about the wisdom of plants and the knowledge of plants and nature. So I thought, okay, I'll put her in a natural setting here, could be in the jungle in any country, and give them a good supply of nature's gifts, the sacraments, the natural sacraments, for them to study and learn about. And so in this picture here, I've included about 40 or 50 psychotropic plants, ones that can induce altered states of consciousness of various types, for good or bad. I have ones considered harmful and ones considered not harmful, but all of them have their uses. And so, you know, plants, I think, have an equal right to exist and have something useful in every living creature. So this is an educational picture. People are, my intention here is that people will get intrigued by what's presented here, and if they don't already know which plants is which, that they'll take the time to figure it out or ask someone or go study up and learn about these things themselves. So this is a picture, it's all about passing on the knowledge through the generations, because precious knowledge about nature and the plants and how to live in harmony with these things has been lost a lot in our society, and I think it should be revived and enhanced, and this picture is my effort to try to do that. This picture is one of my, it's called Sunset Sacrament, and this picture is one of my erotic pieces. I do a fair amount of work that has erotic content. And my idea with these, I have a reason for making erotic paintings. I have a little project of cultural awareness I'm trying to create, and it basically is themed around the idea that in our culture, sex and eroticism are often subject to moral judgment. A lot of the stuff, artwork and imagery we would consider erotic in our society is often exploitive, or showing a situation where someone is being dominated against their will, or some other form of, I won't say perversion, but where the pleasure is not the object, but some kind of power. In a couple hundred years, when people look back at our society, how are they going to think about how we related to each other? When they see some of our movies where women are routinely murdered and cut to ribbons and sliced up and raped and killed and battered, that's our entertainment on television and movies. I would like in a couple hundred years for some of the people to see some imagery from our time where they realized that we loved each other and that we knew how to enjoy each other's bodies in a pleasant and natural way, where everybody's having a good time, enjoying the gift of sexuality. Nubial bliss, and this is another one of my erotic pieces. And I live in an area where a part of the landscape looks a lot like this in Northern California, where I grew up. Spent the younger part of my life was rolling hills with oak trees and grass. I kind of enhanced this picture a little bit with barley. The grain here, people think it's wheat, but actually it's barley, because I enjoy brewing my own beer from natural ingredients, and barley is one of the main components, and so I thought I'd play a little homage to my appreciation of the plant barley by including it in this picture. It's called Sharing the Wealth. And in this picture, my theme is the people that have everything have towards those who have nothing. And I've spent a lot of time in my life traveling in countries where people are not so wealthy, and a lot of times what we would consider living in a state of poverty. And I actually witnessed some incidents where people that had everything chose to wave it in the face of those who had nothing, and in order to shame them and embarrass them and make them feel bad about themselves. And to me, that seemed like the height of arrogance and cruelty, when they could easily have shared what they had and made that person's life better. And I painted this picture because of a personal experience I had observing someone this way on a one-to-one basis, but I thought that the metaphor carried over into the way nations treat each other and treat their citizens, and particularly the United States and the wealthy people of this country, and how our country consumes the world's resources and tries to maintain an empire at the cost of other people. And the other side, where the people who have nothing are living, they're working hard and they're working in sweatshops and slaving away to make a good life for these other people, and yet they're treated with the utmost of disrespect, and to me that's wrong. And that's why I painted this picture, because I wanted to wake people up to the fact that everybody's a human. We're all trying to work hard and be ourselves and be the best person we could be, and that it's our duty, if we are ones with have an excess of wealth or food or anything else, that we should be sharing it with those who have less, because that way it brings us all closer together. This picture is called March of Progress, and this was one of my early pieces on a political type of theme. And in this picture I was considering the idea that the powers of mankind to the development and the growth of cities, and the humans are paving over the world and destroying the world. So in this picture I wanted to show it's like a reverse of Noah's Ark. There's the monster of mankind's progress is rapidly approaching and mowing down nature. And so here in the foreground I have all the creatures of nature fleeing in terror from this onrushing juggernaut of disaster, man-made disaster. And I even included some humans as part of the animal population, because any sensible being, I think, would flee from this thing as quickly as they possibly could. And like any sensible being, I think we should run like hell from it. This painting is called Leap of Faith. And my theme in this one was I wanted to explore the idea of the existence, the fact that we come into existence, the conscious awareness, our consciousness itself, our reality of knowing that we're alive beings. What is that? The magic of existence. And so this picture is about coming into being, all of the experiences one has as they travel through life, and going out of being as well. So coming into our physical form and leaving our physical form. And I think the whole experience of life is, of course, the ultimate in psychedelic experience, that all of our states of consciousness contribute to the thing we call our life. And that is the ultimate experience, and this picture is about that. The leap of faith is the act of coming into being, of being born is an act of faith that you will be a whole being and come into life and live your life, and whatever that involves, that you jump into the universe and jump into existence. That's your leap of faith. On this picture I have included on the right-hand side, I wanted to emphasize the growth aspects, where things are growing and forming and sprouting from seeds and coming into being. And on the left-hand side, we have the decay aspects of life, where the the creatures are struggling for existence, and they're looking for their next meal. They're biting and snapping, and they're dying and they're decaying and going back to their bones and back to the plants and back to the stones, and all to be coming into being again next time around. This particular picture is called Temple Transmutations, and in this picture I was exploring the idea of what it is to be natural. And by that I mean in the sense that natural foods or organic, or we're always talking about, well, this is synthetic, or this thing is man-made, or it's composed of chemicals. So I was kind of wondering where the boundaries actually are between what is natural and what isn't. And after I thought about it for a while, I came to the conclusion that all of it was natural, because whatever our brains create is part of the natural process of us being human. So I came to the conclusion that even the creation of the atom bomb and blowing ourselves into extinction could be considered a natural process. So in this picture I wanted to show kind of a spectrum. So on the left-hand side we have nature, trees and jungle, and they are the jungle forces of nature are, the roots are breaking up the stones and the statues into stones and pebbles once again. And so this is the force of raw nature as we consider nature. And then in the middle, we have humanity, ourselves, as part of nature, but I've represented us here as statuary from some temples in India, famous for their erotic sculptures. I thought it would, because humans are busy procreating and enjoying being human, that I thought that would be an appropriate way to represent humanity in this picture. And then on the right-hand side, we show the human forms changing into what you might call biomorphic, biomechanical forms, and then finally into electronic circuitry and mechanical levers and knobs and gears. And the idea here was that these things are also natural things, natural occurrences, because we as humans, with our natural brains, have created them. And so this is showing the spectrum here of what it is that is natural. To show in my work the nature of balance. Forces of dark and light, if we want to use that metaphor, or of positive or negative, or of water and fire. Oppositions intrigue me, because I see a unity in the oppositions. You can't have one without the other. In order to be good, there has to be some bad. Things find their definition by being shown in relief against something else. So often in my pictures I'll have some sort of a balance of theme. You might see some deathly imagery on one side and then some life-giving imagery on another side. Try often to emphasize both sides of the question. A lot of times my pictures are considered to have some negative content, I guess you would call it, when someone sees a skull or a skeleton or a dead body. But these things are all part of our life process and shouldn't be feared. They're just part of the cycle. But I do like to include them, because I'd like to remind everybody that there's two sides to all of things. This is really my first time here in the city of Miami. Didn't really know anyone. It turns out I actually do have a few friends living in town, and I've made a few more here this week while working together to put on our show. I've had a pleasure of hanging out here with the crew here of the Moksha family and enjoying them, and they've been treating me very well, and I've learned a lot about how things work here in Miami. And I'm having a lot of fun here in a very diverse city that everybody seems to be able to get along in, which I also appreciate, because I like meeting people of all cultures and learning about them and how they live and sharing their stuff. So I've been having a good time here in Miami.